You start this. Hold on. Let's go.
Okay.
All right. What are we doing, Lucas?
We are doing similar to the Q&A we did a few weeks ago, but we're doing strongman training, lifting,
Shit
strength
talk.
sports, hot takes.
Hot takes.
How it'll work is a lot of people had no idea what that meant, and they just asked us questions.
Which is not what we meant.
No.
Guys.
So, like, for example, a hot take. Let me find one.
I got one.
Okay.
Did English athletes competing at World's Strongest Man know the events before others? Hot take.
No.
Sure, yeah, totally.
No. But that'd be a hot take, right?
That would be a hot take.
Because it's just an opinion-based thing, right? Or it's like you believe that sumo is cheating or something like, and we will agree, disagree, indifferent, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
They would-
You're doing that. That's
I didn't
not
do
me.
anything. I'm just looking at the camera longingly.
Okay.
All right, you want me to go through mine first or yours first?
Let's go through some of yours.
Okay, here we go. Strongmen only complain for events that benefit short athletes but allow benefits for tall athletes. Interesting. So they're saying there's lots of bitching for events that benefit short people but never tall people.
Huh. I would push back on that because short athletes take a lot of pride of like, I loaded stones to like chin height.
Definitely a lot of that.
But there's a lot of like pride of short athletes still able to do it.
I think I understand for example, there's a lot of like big guy stuff in strongman. So like, for example, belt cleans are not allowed. It's like, well, why do you think that? Is it because you're massive and you have a gut and you've never needed to? You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of big guy stuff that still kind of remains.
Sure.
And they don't want belt cleans because that's a small person's technique. You know what I mean?
It's not a bad take.
Not a bad take.
Not a bad take.
I don't disagree. I might not hard agree, but I don't disagree.
Okay, I got one.
You got one?
The women in the sport deserve a lot more attention and prize money.
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
That's my opinion. Yes and no. You want me to elaborate first?
You go for it.
All right. So, do they deserve a lot more attention? Hard yes, because there's some great athletic feats going on the women's side. But frankly, I think we're only going to be able to get money comparable to the attention that we bring in, right?
Yes.
So once the attention starts getting higher and higher, which it is every year, you could look at YouTube views. It gets higher and higher every year by marginal increments, and that's great, or sometimes larger increments depending on the show. Then the money will increase.
Yes.
Because then they can afford to.
Yes. And for now, that the best opportunities to do that is featuring them with the men.
Yes.
And because the viewership is higher than standalone women events for now.
Yep.
And just keep, like, promoters are doing it. They're trying to actively grow
happening.
the viewership.
It's happening right now.
And as the viewership grows, the money will grow. It's interesting where a couple shows have put the money before the viewership.
Yes.
And the ladies are not complaining.
Nope.
And it's great for the ladies. It literally single-handedly changed Inez's life.
She's a full-time athlete now.
Yeah. And it's an awesome thing because that didn't exist on the women's side of the sport. No. And now there's opportunities where 2 or 3 women, if they're competing in the right 4 or 5 shows,
they can
be a strong woman.
They can do. So it is increasing. It's happening.
It is.
And you know what's interesting? Before we go on to the next one, the most viewed strongman competition online, on YouTube at least I could say, do you know what the most viewed competition is ever? 73 kilo World's Strongest Woman 2023.
Weird.
Millions of views.
Weird.
Millions.
Weird.
It's the only one that has it. It's more than World's Strongest Man. It's more than all the Arnolds. Millions.
Sure.
So it's happening.
It's hard to quantify because a lot of those world's clips exist in 8 different spots.
That's true. That's fair. No, that's fair.
Yes. But
it's crazy.
Crazy viewership on that one show.
And it's like a 3-hour long video too. It's not even
interesting.
A 10-minute clip. Anyway.
Huh. You got one?
I do have one. Let's see here. North America's Strongest is the hardest non-major show in the world, far exceeding any Giants Live. Hard agree. Hard agree with the caveat of the one thing I think people don't take into account with Giants Live is the pace. Totally different pace.
Right? They'd be like, oh, objectively, that is a lightweight. But
well,
is it a lightweight when you did 8 reps of deadlift in a suit 5 minutes ago?
Right. Giants Live, I think, unfortunately, gets the bad rep of being too light. But if they don't do it that way, they'll hurt these guys.
They will, and they still do sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Right? Like Giants Live is the way that it is because they're creating a live spectator sport that's easily consumable for TV.
A successful one at that.
And yeah, it's for what they're doing, they are succeeding immensely.
Totally. And you know what? They're fucking fun shows. I've coached 3 of them, and I've always had a great time.
Yes. But as far as strongman as I think the sport should be, North America's is harder.
It's so much. Let's what's a fair comparison? Europe's. Let's compare it to Europe's, right? Because that's the comparable title.
Sure, not even close.
Europe's might be 50% easier.
Yes,
North America's is just JF's Quran's soup of chaos, just to really find out who the best is that isn't Hooper.
Yes, really. Yeah. Okay. Strongman complained too much when they required to do more than more than basic technique is demanded.
I agree.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, people are soft as hell.
It's very easy to categorize people who are like technical as being just technicians and not strong, and also certain events that are immensely technical. The normal fan or like people on Reddit don't like it,
right?
Or they deem it to be dangerous. In the case of stone press, it's immensely technical, so it's dangerous.
Right. Yeah, we can't possibly.
It's dangerous if you suck. So is log.
yeah. So log is really dangerous.
Yeah. So stone to shoulder, immensely dangerous if you suck.
And none of us think twice about it.
Yes. Anyways, you got one?
Let me look here real quick.
I got one.
Let's go.
Deadlifts don't need to be in nearly every competition.
Hard agree. And it wasn't in the past. It wasn't.
Agree in a 5-event or less show?
Yeah, sure. I
in an 8-event show, I think deadlift must be contested.
Totally agree with that.
And we both believe that a full contest is 8+ events.
The full contest is 8+ events. The deadlift style, I think, should always rotate. However, I also think if it's 8+ events, there has to be a squat. In my opinion, I do not.
I think there's a couple in here about squatting.
I do not value the deadlift more than the squat. Right. So if you want to replace the deadlift with a squat, that's fine by me.
Yes. That's fair. I would agree with that take. For some reason, Strongman has decided that contesting the squat is harder than the deadlift.
Which is strange because, like, the entirety of the 2010s, every World's Strongest Man had a squat. Every single one.
Yeah, pretty
Either
much.
in the heats or the finals, whatever.
Okay.
I got one for you.
Okay.
If more top pro strongman started thinking just a little bit more, Hooper wouldn't be number one.
You know what?
I kind of agree.
I don't agree with the second half because I think he's still going to be better than them. But it's crazy.
It'd be way closer.
How many guys that are at major shows that show up to the rules meeting, not a thought in their head,
bro,
not a single question,
or sometimes they don't even bring equipment.
Yeah,
or like it's like, what are you doing?
Or there's a couple times at the Arnold, which I'm not going to call anyone out specifically,
don't do that,
where they could have gone on the floor, done something very basic, and gained a point or two if they were just aware.
Bro, me, you, and Hooper were the only ones on the floor touching the sled and trying out different shoes,
pulling the sled before the event.
And we helped him. He's like, "Can you give me a little tension here?" And we tried that, and then he helped you. Like, it's like, play with the equipment.
Like, guys are leaving points on the board everywhere,
dude.
And if you don't do that, you can lose to Hooper by a little. I did that.
Yep.
If I left points on the board everywhere, I'd lose to Hooper by a lot,
right?
Because I did that at Strongest Man on Earth.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I do agree with that immensely.
All right, you got one.
Your bench PR doesn't count if I can fit a soccer ball underneath your arch.
Oh, interesting.
Ooh, powerlifting. We're weighing in on powerlifting.
He said a soccer ball?
He's just saying if you have an immense arch, he does not think your bench is valid.
I agree.
Come
at me.
Man.
If we're not talking about sport specific, if we're not in a show.
Sure. No, but in powerlifting.
Well, then I don't care. It's a sport. Do what you
Sure, it is the sport. I'm kind of okay with the whole, I can't remember which Fed did it, the adjustment of bench depth.
Yeah, it was smart. Wasn't it USPA or something?
Or no, USAPL.
USLPL.
It's either USAPL or Powerlifting America.
The one that fed into Powerlifting America.
No. Powerlifting America feeds into the IPF.
Oh, so then it's them.
It's them. Yeah, so it's Powerlifting America. I'm 99% sure. I'll get roasted by some like 64 kg
some dork will tell
teenager,
us now. Yeah.
Whatever.
Some guy with a 100-kilo squat.
But yes, I think I'm okay with the bench depth conversation.
Sure.
If you hit a 90 degree.
Yeah.
I don't like the spirit of trying to game a lift, even though we do sometimes.
So you hate sumo?
I love sumo.
Well,
I think sumo is just I think it's a different lift. That's a
little semantic-y, brother.
I think it's a different lift. Okay, if you showed a diagram of each one and muscles worked, they're different.
Sure.
They're different lifts.
It's true. I could make the same argument for that bench style, though.
They move the bar.
different fucking
No, but
muscles.
okay. They're just wider, right?
Yeah.
You're straight up trading my feet and my hands position,
Yeah.
that's a different lift.
Totally.
I just think it's a different lift. I think it's
Yeah.
strange to be contested in the same thing. I personally
That
love the
I
sumo deadlift
that I
because I'm
agree
good
with.
at it.
It should be its own thing.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I think belt cleans should straight up be legal regardless of comp and weight class.
Hell yes.
Hard agree.
That is an old school strongman weird opinion.
It's a thing that big fat guys like to do because it's harder for everyone else, even though they had their own biological belt
Yes.
in the form of their gut.
Yes.
So they can never possibly relate to a 64-kilo woman doing the exact same
Yes.
exercise.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
You've just
Do you
you've been doing belt cleans.
Bro,
You're just
remember,
fat.
Do you remember when Zadrunas was in Carly Oliveira's comments calling her world record not a world record because she belt cleaned it?
I was not aware of
It
this.
was so funny.
There's a whole generation of old dudes that hate.
Just a Latvian boomer just talking shit. It's Carly on the back. It's whatever, dude. It was great. Still love you, Z. You're the best. All right, you got one?
We need to ban duck walk events except for power stairs. Those are great.
I disagree.
Disagree,
Brother.
It's not that hard.
It's just an event. It's just an event.
Like, we can't just ban events that suck.
that you don't like.
Yeah.
I got one for you. Sandbag to shoulder and sandbag toss are just shit versions of good events that are easier for promoters to put on.
Man,
There's some truth to that.
there's a little bit. But
I like
on the
sandbag
flip
to
side,
shoulder,
we
though.
actually had this conversation yesterday in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like how Cerberus sponsors every event under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And but actually switching to things like sandbags and throwing sandbags as a whole, Rogue makes them now.
Yep.
Lots of brands make them now.
Mirror fit.
Has made it so that, you know, those are things that are easier to access than like throwing kegs and, you know, anvils and shit that strongmen used to use. So I think it's made the sport by and large more accessible.
I will say too, because those things are readily available, there's a level of standardization that I like about that. I think that you could go too far, but with that, I like that level.
And as a show promoter, the main critique we have is if, let's say, we only favor heavyweight athletes like in a pro-am.
Yeah.
They're like, when are you adding masters? When are you adding 73s? When are you adding whatever? And they bitch at you. Sorry, I'm a little bit of frustration.
I can tell you promoted shows.
I've promoted shows. But when I have something like a sandbag,
right,
I can own sandbags, and I do own sandbags.
And you can scale it
from 100 to 425-pound jumps in matching sets.
Totally.
And things like sandbags becoming popular is the only reason I can include all those weight classes.
Mm-hmm.
If we did different things, cool things like anvils and shit, I can't include those weight classes because it just weighs what it weighs.
Right.
So disagree with your take.
I understand where your spirit is. You see it a lot now, but also I do think it's for the benefit of the sport.
Yes.
All right, you're up.
A lot of open pro strongmen need to work on their technique for events.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Yes.
Open. I'll say this right now. Hot take. Hot take from me.
Okay.
If you're a newer athlete and you want to be good at strongman or strongwoman, whatever, don't talk to open class athletes.
No.
Don't learn shit from them. Don't. Find the best 73-kilo lady or 90-kilo man in your area, and those guys and girls will be able to help you out.
Very likely more technical.
Yeah.
There are a few exceptions to that rule.
Sure, of course. Martins is great. Hooper's great.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, I'm okay.
You're okay.
Like, but see, like, if you're also not a massive body human, I have 15 years of GPP under my belt.
Yeah.
I'm going to do things differently than you will. Like, another good indicator of somebody who's good or a good coach is like, have they taken someone from very novice to good or good to really good?
Right.
Were they, or did they do it in 2 years because they're a genetic freak?
Right.
Right. So it's just like, maybe don't consult the genetic freak.
Don't talk to them.
It's like, you don't learn how to jump from the kid who can dunk in 8th grade.
No.
He never had to learn a thing about dunking.
Michael Jordan was a shit coach.
Yeah.
All right, I got one. I'm not sure if this is a hot.
This one. What's
one?
Brown and sticky? That's not a hot take. But it's just
damn dog. What?
Yeah.
What's brown? All right. This one I'm not sure if it's really a hot take, but it says we need Andre, Reno, Bryce, new guys to replace the old guard in big shows. We all know Ivers is at his ceiling.
Damn.
Why they call him out specifically?
Just Ivers specifically.
Yeah, what Ivers do to you, dog?
He competes against. He's actually the only one that does compete against some of those guys,
and he's beaten all of them recently.
Yes, he has. So,
but I know what you're saying.
The spirit of the comment, I would say the better thing would be I need opportunities for those guys to go head to head with the guys that are in the Big Four.
Couldn't agree more.
Because you know what? Let's find out.
Yeah.
And I'm totally for like a system where, let's say, you know, your whole 2025, you're in the bottom third of all these big shows.
Get demoted.
Get out, go requalify.
Yeah,
if you're
I
good
agree.
enough, you will requalify.
It's very similar to how the Europeans do their soccer
Sure,
federations or whatever.
great.
Same
Like
shit.
it's a strange thing where like if you win a major show or get on a podium, or if you're a world-class presser or deadlifter, you get invited for 2 or 3 years longer than you maybe should once you fall
Sometimes 5.
off.
Yeah.
It's hard. But it's tough because a promoter, because the fans are fans,
Right.
and they have people they know and they like. But I don't know if we always get the most competitive strongman shows
No,
because
we need. At the end of the day, this is a sport.
Yep.
We need to treat it like a sport, in my opinion.
Yep.
And the more it's treated like a sport, the better this will become.
I don't care.
And then questions like we had earlier with the women's money, those things get treated better because like sports make money. People enjoy sport.
Yes.
Like it's that
yeah,
simple.
it's like it's being comfortable as a promoter to shifting from we're putting on a show like a concert,
Right.
Like a, you know, to we're putting on a sport that people just want to watch because it's a sport.
Exactly.
And there's been throughout the history of our sport, there's been a weird intersection of those two ideas, and I think we're so much closer to just being okay with it being a sport.
Yeah.
Like people don't like the World's Strongest Man edits because
so
they don't
bad.
display the sport as a sport.
Dude,
it's a reality show of
Bro,
like,
you watched it. The
I
2024 edit was
tough.
They only showed 2 athletes the entire time. We didn't get to watch the actual contest.
And
It was
but
crazy.
also like sometimes they won't have the athletes displayed in the order that you know that they did come out
In contest-wise, right.
because they placed in a certain order in the previous event, and this is the order they came out in the deadlift,
Right.
and that's relevant to understanding the nature of the contest.
Right.
But the TV edit doesn't include that; it doesn't even mention it.
No, it
just does it in order of how they did, and it's just it's telling a story that isn't the cool story.
No, the cool
story
story
is the real one.
It's the sport.
Is the real story. So as a diehard fan, frustrating.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hot take. Novice classes shouldn't exist.
Ooh.
Not for me, by the way. Someone like
Strong disagree.
Yeah.
Because aside from all the conversation about fans, the way the sport grows is through participation.
Right.
And things like switching to sandbags and easily accessible equipment and slightly lighter shows and expanding broadly grows the sport.
Mhm.
Things like the novice class have probably grown the sport more than the big 4.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
That's, to be fair, you include the 50 years of World's Strongest Man, we probably would have nothing without that. To be fair, somebody in the comments will call me out on that.
Well, you know what? The actual contests in the world of strongman that are actual sport and not TV show wouldn't exist without the novice divisions existing and people
Yes.
growing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like things like Rogue for whatever.
Yeah.
Like Rogue isn't investing millions of dollars in a contest if they don't see tens of thousands of people doing this in their spare time who could invest in their company
Yeah.
to spend money.
Because they're doing contests that you have Rogue equipment, and
Right.
Rogue in their garage gym, and Rogue at their local gym.
Right.
And it's a necessary part of this larger ecosystem of strongman being bigger and a household name.
Right.
It's awesome. Okay.
You got one? I got one too.
Go for it.
Okay. Is Westside Barbell's legacy overhyped by the modern day lifting culture?
Damn. This is
That's a rough one.
this
And
is
the
a tough
thing
one because
is,
they literally followed us on Instagram this
2
week.
days ago they followed us
This
both.
week.
Fuck. Okay. Because the thing is, I'm not going to lie on the internet.
No,
I'll give my
on
honest
training
opinion.
concepts, I don't think they're overhyped.
I think the proliferation of strength, speed, and speed strength work, which originally came out of the Soviet Union, which Louis is the first person to say, the proliferation of that information is massive. Completely changed the scope of American strength and conditioning.
Yes. Let's put it in English and apply it
Right
here.
Yeah, and they did that better than anyone. Right.
Sure.
Now that being said, when it came to the actual execution of powerlifting, I think Westside was pretty trash. I think pretty
It's
bad.
a strange history.
weird history of geared lifting and just.
But the whole era was weird. Geared lifting was 90s linebackers headbutting lockers
right
and like
and
getting drugs from some guy.
like cocaine and methyl trend.
Like
just
yeah, it's what your grandma thinks powerlifting is.
right,
Because that's what powerlifting was.
right, exactly.
And then it was real blue collar. It was like actually like kind of like we're going to be a freak show.
Totally.
And then it was a little more mainstream,
Yep.
little blue collar.
Yep.
And then it was what it is now.
Now it's just a bunch of dorks with cross earrings and
Yeah.
and
It's a strange
SBD
overcorrection.
days.
Yes.
Yeah, weird. The pendulum has swung.
Yes.
But no, I think the proliferation of information that they did, no one's done better, and they changed strength and conditioning forever.
They did.
So
Yeah, as far as the athletes themselves from Westside and like we produce the best athletes ever, I don't care.
yeah, no.
But conceptually, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um
What do you got?
Strongman is quickly becoming heavy CrossFit. Is this Brian Shaw?
First off, no, the fuck it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
There's always been a conditioning element. There's always been medleys. There's always been.
Strongman is just not the 2010s. Because, like, every other era has been the same, including the one we're in now. There was just a weird 6-year period where, like, we're gonna deadlift 1,200 pounds every day.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's just an era where all the dudes were 400 pounds, and they're like, oh, it's CrossFit if I have to breathe hard. But also, those guys could move.
Almost all of them.
There were some great loading races during that era with the big guys.
Yeah.
I think this is a dumb take. I genuinely do. It ignores the history of the sport. And also, grit and your engine and your ability, those are, to me, that's strength.
Yeah.
Like, strength is not just lifting the heaviest barbell from the floor to wherever.
No.
It's when the event kicks you in the teeth and you keep going, that's strength.
So, I'm sorry. If you can't work for 90 seconds, you might be a bit of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, anything over 90 seconds, we're calling CrossFit now? For realsies? That's what we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay, dog.
Yeah. No, dumb take.
Dumb take.
Actually, who said that? I actually don't know who that is.
Shame him.
Find his account. Send him nasty DMs.
Yeah.
Squats with powerlifting standards are boring to watch.
You're boring.
Oh, same guy.
Same guy. Dude, you're full of bullshit today, huh, champ, huh?
No. Absolutely
Wrong.
not. Wrong. I think it's sick. Because go to the live stream, Dungeon Strength RX of Rainier Classic last year.
Pro show.
Day 2. We did a max squat.
And it was awesome.
The crowd was so excited for it.
It was awesome.
And the dudes, round 1, round 2, round 3, they were chipping each other.
Yep.
It's competitive. We had 3 judges that we very much trusted. We took them from powerlifting.
Yep.
I had an IPF world level judge side judging.
It was great. It was great.
And the squats were legit. There was no controversy.
I'll tell you something right now, buddy. You do one more dumb hot take, we're calling you out.
He actually, the next one is listed. I'm intentionally not reading it. I'm covering it.
Is it a dumb
It's
one?
also him.
God damn it.
Same guy. No national competition should be a qualifier for World's Strongest. Okay, I'm going to ban this
Dude,
guy.
you know what, brother? Let me tell you something right now, champ. You're hit the button.
Send him to the gulag.
Hit gulag.
Send him to the gulag.
Gulag. You're off to the gulag. You heard that?
Yeah.
The Soviet Union come down that ass.
Okay. No national competition should be qualified for World's Strongest Man. I hope that you're motivated by the fact that Britain's gets 3.
Yeah.
I hope that's why you're saying
it
that.
better be, dog.
Because you know what? I think there are the kind of nations that always have 4 or 5 worthy guys or more. Their national champion should go to Worlds.
Yeah.
America, Canada, UK,
Iceland.
There's
only one guy?
No.
Historically, you have to say yes.
It's factually correct.
Who was winning prior to him? Stefan Solvi. Say he didn't deserve to go. Who was winning prior to Stefan Solvi? Benedict Magnuson. Oh, yeah, I'll keep going.
I know.
I'll keep going, bro.
Iceland has as many people as Tacoma, Washington.
And they're good at strongman, bro.
That's where this argument gets tricky.
They don't
The
have...
next country I was going to list was Ukraine or Poland.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with Iceland, uniquely enough, they don't have multiple guys who are good enough for Worlds. They only have one at a time.
Sure.
Like, what's his face? Who was in between? We had Aethor. He was great.
Now,
made finals twice.
Now, I'd be okay if no national title qualified and we had direct invites from regional ones, like Europe's, North America's,
Sure.
the new Pacific show coming out,
Well, that makes more
Africa's
sense.
Strongest Man.
That makes more sense.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Who cares? South America's Strongest Man. I
Yeah.
don't care. He's going to get the brakes beat off of him, but I'm okay with that.
I coach him right now, by the way.
Do you?
Yeah.
Who?
His name is Lucas.
You know what? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's moving to Salt Lake to work at 20 Pig.
Damn.
Yeah, he's awesome.
All right. But this guy, Manus91, all 3 takes.
Hey, Manus. Bro, me and you, we ain't good. We ain't good, dog.
No, you got one?
Yeah, I got one here. This is more of a question, but it's an okay one. Let's see what you think. Is there a lift that you think most pro strongmen suck at, and either in preparation or execution at comp? Yeah, basically everything. I'm genuinely not impressed with how most people peak, even with the most basic of exercises.
No, I think peaking protocols are interesting
that interesting to me bad?
Well, no, because there's like I think people think they understand it,
Right.
but with how often they compete, they couldn't possibly understand it.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're saying the things that they apply is just not
Like
making
there's
sense.
not time to
Right.
peak doing an like if you have 5 weeks between shows, doing an 8, a 6, a 4, and a single
Right.
is not a peaking protocol. It is a peaking protocol.
It's just not
but
the
it
one you
gets-
should be doing.
It gets so much deeper than that.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
I would say honestly, just basic execution of even things like log, for example. You see some of the best pro shows in the world. I'm like, why is this person who's incredibly powerful missing a 180 kilo log? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or like they can hit a mid 3s for 8.
Right.
But 420
Can't do
you're
it.
falling. It doesn't make sense, and
No.
there's a lack of attention to detail.
Yeah.
Um,
Those are all my questions, by the way.
that's it.
That's all I got.
Okay, a lot of people asking questions.
Fuck it. Pick some good ones then.
Okay.
Since y'all don't know what hot take means. Braden, you got any hot takes? Give me a
Okay,
second,
if
give me a second.
Braden, he's actually been to a lot of strongman now.
He knows stuff.
You, Novikov, and Matus, who has the best dumbbell technique?
You.
No. Novikov.
No.
At his best.
Inconsistent. And it's dumbbell dependent.
I don't think so, because he also did good on the Sear bells at Rogue Invitational.
Oh, I think the series is the best first technique.
I know. And then
Rogue
on
was
the
worst.
Monster Bell, he was great. And there's not a lot of examples of him on a cylinder.
Yeah, give it to him.
I would give it to the person who has the efficient jerk technique. It is the
Yeah.
most effective technique.
You know, it's the one that will
I
last.
bully it a little more than him.
Yeah. I'm curious. You know, here's a good question. Who will last longer? Well, actually, never mind. We actually kind of know the answer to that because his shoulder's gone. I was going to say who would last longer depending on the technique, but he only used one shoulder is his problem, in my opinion. He never learned the other side.
It's a lot of weight.
It is.
It's a lot of weight
Get
for
good
one
at
side to
both.
handle. We kind of train the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, and you know what? No, Matus has put up gigantic weights
He-
with
he-
many different
he-
styles of dumbbells.
He took your technique to the furthest, I'd say.
I
With that
would-
330.
He did it first.
Yeah.
I would do. Honestly, I would put myself third in that until I
If we're looking at
prove
just
otherwise.
the technique, sure. Yeah,
if
I
I
can see
until I
that.
prove otherwise.
That's reasonable.
Yeah,
That's reasonable.
I haven't done it yet. What could help refereeing standards as so much controversy over poor calls?
That's a great question. I personally think if you want great reffing, this is what I think. And I'm not going to name a show, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe types of shows that are prolific throughout the
Sure.
sport. If you're bringing in people who aren't referees by career, like that's not their job, like they're not going to multiple shows around the world and they only do something maybe a couple times a year, I don't think those should be the referees at any of the big four because there's just not a consistency. Like, in order to be a very good referee, I think you should be doing it often, moderately often, right? Let's say 5 to 8 times a year. That's
Okay.
moderately often. So people like Magnus, I actually think, especially in the last year, Magnus has gotten way better. 2 years ago,
he did some great calls at the Arnold.
he did. 2 years ago, he was really he was loosey goosey. But I think over some of the internet exploding, whatever, Magnus has actually tightened it up really well, and I think his judging has gotten much better in the last year. It's my opinion, and I think from there you bring in people who were incredibly proficient athletes at like Zadrunas.
Yes.
I think he's a wonderful judge.
Well, and not necessarily finding just the strongest. Find the people who, as athletes, were the technicians.
Right, that's what
They
I- yeah.
understand the details
Yeah.
of what it takes to be truly good. You'll see it where a judge was particularly bad at an event category,
And they're loose with the
so
calls.
they'll be lax at it
Yeah.
because they were frustrated throughout their whole career
Yeah.
that was hard.
You know who I think would be a great judge? Who I like, for example, I hope the Arnold brings on and hires him because I don't know if he'll be competing at that level. Kevin Ferris. I would love if Kevin Ferris became a new mainstay judge because I know,
I wonder if he'd be interested in that.
I bet you he would because I know Kevin had to get technical because he's tiny and he had to whoop dudes' butts in certain things and he's very strict just as a person.
Sure.
I would love Kevin as a judge.
Yeah. Yeah, and like honestly, my favorite judge in the world is Aaron.
Aaron's a fantastic
Aaron
judge.
is my favorite strongman judge.
It's always fair.
I've never seen Aaron make a call.
No.
Maybe like 1 or 2 out on a 2-day show of Rainier.
Maybe. That's
right?
normal. Aaron's Aaron Murray, for those that don't know who we're talking about.
Yes.
Really good judge. Yeah, Aaron should be an Arnold judge if she doesn't want to compete.
She's going to be trying to compete.
She got a couple more years. You
Yeah.
know.
We need more qualification shows. Pros on the edges should be forced to do OSG type shows.
Agree.
100%.
Hard agree.
Yes. Yeah. If your Strongman archives in the displayed last like 8 shows, whatever it shows, if it's all like 6th or worse or
Trash
5th
OSG.
or worse, go back.
Yeah.
It's okay. You're not in the top 10 in the world.
No.
And if you only compete in shows that invite the top 10 in the world, you'll be considered top 10 in the world for far longer than you actually are.
Right.
Okay. And you know what? There may be a time that's me.
Yeah.
Take a step back.
I take a step
go
back.
win an amateur show. Beat their ass if you're actually good enough.
Right.
And yeah,
Get back
that's
to the
completely
stage.
fine. Do you think a good squat makes you a good strongman?
It certainly helps.
You, Hooper, Thor, top guys with top tier squats.
It really helps.
Yeah, it does.
It's just a great indicator of athletic ability, a great ability to drive through the legs for various activities. Yeah, it really helps.
And I think another way to put it is this sport self-selects for people who have really strong backs.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has a strong back.
Every single one.
Everyone is posterior chain dominant. But if you can be decent in those posterior chain events, plus add some anterior power in the squat, you're winning.
Totally.
You're just getting points in events that other guys aren't.
Yeah, Lalas was adamant on strong squats too.
This is a fun one. Andre Foitu would be great in heavy shows like the Arnold and Strongest Man on Earth, but he's stuck in the World's Strongest Man Giants live system.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
I actually think he would do better. Like if his first big show, this year.
Sure.
If he went to Strongest Man on Earth, the odds of him going top 10 is higher than him going top 10 at Worlds.
Oh, I don't agree with that.
You don't?
No.
I do.
I think he is really, really proficient in the press.
I think
that's the only thing.
I think if you're paying attention, he's tacked on a deadlift that would be surprising.
What's he at right now? 410?
No, he did 350 for a raw 7 or 8, and it was easy.
Well, what's his best max? Do you know? I don't.
He hasn't had an opportunity to do it. But I actually don't hate that take.
Because the thing is, he
I think in the overall part of his career, I think when we see peak Foitu, whenever that is, whether it's 5 years from now,
'cause it's not
2
now.
years from now,
He's young.
He's still building. He's got a good system behind him. I think at his best, he'll do the best at Strongest Man on Earth in the Arnold.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
When he's
I think
there.
that's more what I'm agreeing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm in that boat. I will do better at those two than Worlds.
Yeah.
I like to say that me and Foitu could not do well at a Worlds is false.
Yeah.
We can.
Yeah.
We totally can. But
he just had the misfortune.
I don't hate that take.
No, I think when he's peaked, yes, he'll be better at things like Strongest Man on Earth, Arnold, maybe even Rogue too, honestly. But he is also very proficient at Giants-like shows.
Yeah, he's fast.
So fucking fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I think he's just a good strongman.
He's a guy that's like 4 years away from being a monster, in my opinion, or 2.
And he was good enough at a few events and had some good performances that he got into the main circuit maybe a little early.
Yeah,
but he still does okay.
Because he got invited. He got invited into the main circuit without even hitting that OSG podium. He went to OSG. He didn't podium, but he still got in.
Yeah.
So, which is, I mean, good for him. Like, take the opportunity, but also, my suggestion to people in that situation is maybe don't. Like, let it cook,
let it build. But he's still building. As he builds, I think you're right. He's a couple years away from doing something nasty.
Yeah.
Is Strongman? That's a question. Can you tell us the new Europe's press event with American representation? No, I cannot tell you anything to do with Europe's.
Well, Europe's has already posted the events.
I know, but I can't say World's Strongest Man stuff. The fun thing is, I don't know, dude.
Yeah, we don't actually have. We could say this: we don't actually have the event details for the press medley.
Yeah,
they didn't tell us what the fuck we're pressing at all.
No, we don't. We don't know weights. We don't know implements.
So that video is just us guessing.
Any moving event. I don't know distance. I don't know specifics.
No details.
Anybody who's doing anything right now is guessing.
Totally, we're all.
They're making educated guesses, and that's. I mean, across the board, whatever
is what it is.
Yeah, it's just there's still stuff thematically that you should do when you're 10 weeks out or 8 weeks out or 6 weeks out.
Yeah,
it doesn't change a ton.
No, it honestly doesn't bother me.
And the odds of it being like we're practicing, let's say that medley I did in training, and we get there and it's every implement's over 400 pounds.
Whatever.
That's not going to happen, but I'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Yeah,
I'd be fine. I'd be sick. This guy did 3 in a row.
Okay. What do we got?
I basically have to read them in a row because he wrote them like I'm reading them in a row.
Okay.
Accessory exercises should be approached from more of a bodybuilder perspective. For example, like why are you trying to cue your lats in a skull crusher variation? Like bicep curls with a log, just do regular curls and variations that focus on that.
Your theory is good. Your application's terrible.
I get it.
Like that's not at all what I would like. I would never tell people those words for those exercises.
No.
You know what I mean? But like, yeah, accessories should be done like how the phase of training dictates them to be done.
Yes.
So if you're in a hypertrophy block, yeah, dog, get your pump, focus, tempo, eccentrics.
But
whatever.
also when you're doing hypertrophy, like certain people are in your camp of like, I'm just a bodybuilder. I need bigger bicep, bigger tricep, bigger lat, end of sentence.
Right.
So I should just train like someone who's trying to do that. We also understand that this hypertrophy block builds into a GPP phase or like a building phase into a peaking phase of actual movements we can test.
Right.
So let's pick hypertrophy movements that add hypertrophy, not just to specific muscles. Let's do it in ranges of motion that are the patterns we're going to do later.
Yeah, totally.
Right. It's just,
and also like a muscle is only as strong as it can be big, right? So essentially a bigger muscle fiber can be a stronger one. But if you don't then take your accessories and push them for things like strength, like do heavy sets of 3 to 5, 8, 6, whatever, you're not gonna be able to translate all that newfound strength over to your event. So you have to do that with accessories as well. It's not just bodybuilding year round.
Yeah, I mean the true answer to that question is a 5-hour discussion.
Yeah, it's just basic training, dog.
Yeah. Atlas stones are overrated. Height advantage in parentheses. Stone overhead press should be gone too because way too dangerous. Both of those, strong disagree.
Yeah, I don't think Atlas stones are overrated. I enjoy them. Are they in too many Giants shows? Yes, that's the only time I'll say that. I love them in almost any other show because most shows don't feature them. Yeah. For being honest, non-Giant shows anyway.
The only time I think height advantage is a valid argument,
weight classes,
is when I think there's an appropriate height that should be the max for each weight class.
Yeah, totally.
Right, it's like
they made
isn't it the 90 kilo men? There's the 80 kilo men. 80 kilo men at OSG. The stand gets smaller.
They brought them down to the open women's height.
And I'll say this: at North America's Strongest Man is the only time I've ever ran into something where I'm like, that might be too high.
Yeah, what was it? 64
68.
inch, 60 inch.
The first stone load at North America is a 68 inch. So guys like Simone Pratt would be required to press the stone. I can shoulder it, go to my toes, and then jump.
Yeah.
And that's how I have to load it.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I'm like, that might even be too far.
Yeah. What are we even testing at that point?
Yeah. Like we shouldn't be doing 72 inch stone loading.
Yeah.
No. There was an era where like a max height stone load was a cool thing.
Right.
I've seen max height keg load too.
Dude, even the year that Derek Poundstone lost World's Strongest Man, those loads were way too high.
Yeah.
In my opinion. For a series. Like, what are we even testing right now?
Sure. And stone press being too dangerous. I've already talked on this.
Stone press is fine.
It's not too dangerous.
Be mobile.
Yeah, if you have lat mobility, it's not dangerous.
Yeah.
It's not. And also, you have to be sure that your hand's in the right spot before you go.
That's it.
And if they're in the right spot, they're not going to slip.
Thor could do it. You could do it.
Yep. We're getting to the end.
Yeah, I think so.
Also, people think I'm like a PT.
Why?
Any advice for elbow bursitis?
Go to a doctor.
I have that. I can't fix it. Do you have advice? And then his next one. Any tips on brachialis pain? Can't do hammer curls or log cleans.
Or log cleans?
If you figure out the answer to that, tell Mitch Hooper because he needs that too.
Work on your triceps. Get more tendon health.
Yeah. Strongman needs to be weirder. Bring back refrigerator races.
No. Hard disagree.
Hard disagree?
The weirdness is the reason why O.D. Wilson never got a World's Strongest Man win.
Just for O.D.?
Just for O.D. I'm done. I'm bitter. I'm bitter for that American legend.
You know what? No. I want some weird shit.
Yeah, what do you think is weird that would be fun?
I like, like on Strongest Men on Earth or Strongest Men in History, where they carried like the piano down the street.
Yeah.
Like shit like that. I'm down, dude.
Yeah.
As the weirder it is, the more technical it is. Like, I want shit that we can't practice.
Sure.
It's
I respect
only
that.
this place owns it. Let's try it.
Yeah.
In an 8-event show, I'm okay with it.
Sure. Except for Stein tossing. That was stupid. Never again.
Yeah, it's just
stupid.
It's cool for like 6 history dorks.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a cool thing to do in the Rogue Record Breakers.
Yeah, hard agree.
Yes. Well, we're getting there's a lot of questions. People don't understand what
Braden,
we
got any
asked.
hot takes over there? You've been around the game. You know more than the average person now. You get to see the realness in the back, the personalities, the anger, the happiness. The Arnold needs a logistical revamp.
Ooh, I believe so.
I could not agree more.
Yes, mainly the rules meeting day.
There's some other things.
Yeah, there is. No, it's the team needs one more logistical mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm hypercritical of that because in our show, I am the logistical mind.
Yeah.
Right. So
well, you're
for
experienced.
me, I'm like, oh, I would have done this different.
Yeah.
Tactics are massively overrated by fans. All athletes know what good tactics are. False.
Fuck no.
False.
Could not agree. I don't agree at all.
No.
I could not agree with that statement.
No. I think the fans
know more than the athletes sometimes.
The fans pay attention to the history, the lore, the crazy technique Martins did one time on the the fans know that more than some of the athletes.
I think people would be genuinely shocked how many of their favorite pro strongmen, when asked a certain question, maybe about a specific in a medley or whatever, would just go, I don't know, man, I'm just strong. Yep. That is like the answer for a lot of people.
Yep. Hypertrophy training is inefficient. Strength and athletics should always come first.
You need to read a lot of books, but no, that's just wrong. And the thing is, strength and athletics is based on hypertrophy studies. Like you can't have one without the other, man. It's literally impossible.
You're skipping a major phase of training throughout the year, and like in the time where I've gone from amateur to now, I have a similar body fat percentage, and I am 40 pounds heavier.
Yeah, you put on a whole lot of muscle.
Yeah, I'm bigger.
Yeah.
Look at Trey Mitchell's back and tell me hypertrophy is a waste of time.
Right. Yeah.
You're just wrong.
His back
it's so crazy.
Crazy.
Somebody, how can I get taller? Is that Jack Turner?
Oh, dude, I love Jack Turner. Dude, you know he did random tangent.
Didn't he do Olympic City?
He did Olympic City in the Open, and he he was top 6.
Sick.
As a 105, a short 105.
Nice.
Jack, he whooped some ass. Good job, Jack. That was awesome. He missed a 440 stone though. That's about it. Did great.
Strongman events payouts in Bitcoin instead of US dollars. For or against, and why?
I'm not going with that. No. Bitcoin is too fluid.
It's too volatile.
Way too volatile, buddy. It's worth a lot of times, and other times, like right now, were they down 40% in the last 3 months?
Yeah,
I'll pass, brother.
Pass. None of us are complaining that we're getting US dollars.
Yeah, US dollar's pretty good, man.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Great British pound is cool too, but whatever.
Push-pull legs is overrated for bodybuilding.
Push-pull legs?
As a split.
So do they mean like one day is a push, one day is a pull, or is it the same day, push and pull?
A push-pull up. My understanding of push-pull legs would be...
Same session.
Push-pull upper, push-pull lower. So upper, lower, upper, lower.
So they're separating the push and the pull.
push and a pull.
Well, if you're separating it... Okay, so this is actually a really fun question. So if you're a natty athlete, for example, doing a pushing and pulling in the same session is actually okay.
It's a giant stupid water bottle.
It's so dumb. It's totally okay because you could do that like literally 2 to 3 times throughout the week and let the volume grow somewhat fairly linearly throughout the week. If you're someone who's using super creatine and you get a lot more out of a movement, you can cut that volume by like 20% and just focus on just the pulling or just the pushing, then it's pretty okay.
Mm-hmm.
But is it overrated as a whole? I would say it completely depends on the context which you're coming from. Are you a professional bodybuilder? Are you a strongman? Are you natural? Are you not? Like, it's not something that's just wrong. Like, there's not a binary on that idea. You know what I mean? It's not an on or an off.
Fair enough. We only have like 3 more. Okay. In my opinion, basic barbell press shouldn't be in comps.
What comp is it in?
I think he's referring to the Flintstone.
Oh, I see. So
or like the big jerk.
I actually just got a bunch more questions. So he's saying a barbell lift shouldn't be used to test an overhead ability.
No.
Well, sir, there's a really super sick sport that exists that has been doing that for 100 years, and we all love it. And it's called weightlifting, and I disagree with you.
Yeah, no, I like any opportunity to... I think this is my definition of a good strongman event.
Mm-hmm.
Does it test who the strongest person is at that thing?
Sure.
Then it can be a strongman event. I'm okay with bench press for reps. I'm okay with max bench. I'm okay with hang over a pool on a like for grip. it's by that definition, I'm cool with it. And like a barbell is just a thing. I don't like the narrative of like an axle is strongman, a barbell is not.
Right, because of appearance. You know why I
certain
like
things are
barbell
not
too?
more strongman than others.
You know what's my favorite thing of strongman, at least in the modern day, including tools more in higher frequency things like barbell, at least for overhead?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so widely contested throughout the world in different things, we could really compare ourselves to people who have pushed that tool to the limit. And we might find out, wow, some strongmen are comparable to the greatest ever. Like, for example, you did a 247 behind the neck jerk at the Arnold, right? Really cool. Have people in weightlifting done more? Totally. But were you pushed? No. Will you maybe be pushed again relatively soon? Possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Could we find out what your real potential is? Yes.
Yeah, and you get to have cool conversations like, is that we actually had this conversation. We were trying to figure it out. What's the heaviest weight ever pressed overhead by an American?
275.
275, Joe Kovacs.
That's right.
Right? And, there might be some opens that did something in the gym, but it opens up these.
It's Joe.
But if there is, these conversations could bring that person to the table. It's like,
exactly.
Here's this video I did, and it's cool.
Yeah.
One year at one of our contests, we did this is a little outside of strength. We did the NFL Combine bench.
Yeah, which is 225. Right?
Every men's class did 225. Yeah. But we got to compare ourselves to athletes that people consider some of the best on earth in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's just cool. Like, let's test stuff, compare to other sports, because Strongman's this cool hodgepodge of other sports.
Yeah.
Couldn't disagree more. Zach Price, how much did you DoorDash after the Arnold?
I don't think you did.
I didn't. No, I knew that immediately post Arnold I was getting sent to fat camp.
Yes.
Yeah, because of Worlds.
Yeah, we had Worlds right up, so we couldn't let him get chonky.
No, can't do that. Alice.
What'd she say now?
Lucas, the Lucas Hatton is the best presser of smiley face.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So you're such a dork.
Do you know what someone said? You know what someone said their new favorite nickname for you is?
What?
Lucas Alex Clients Hatton. I was like, that's so stupid.
Lucas Alex Client Hatton.
Here's one. If we take the field a couple of years to catch up, athleticism and I couldn't. The person worded it strangely. It will take the field a couple of years to catch up to athleticism of the likes of Lucas and Hooper. I don't.
False.
I don't agree. And I don't agree. I think the only thing inhibiting certain people from being nearly athletic as Hooper or even more than Lucas or the same as both of them, whatever, is preparation in the way that they train. And two, just more skill work. I think a lot of these guys are probably naturally more athletic. They just don't train in a way that would maybe display it.
Singleton's more athletic than me.
Oh, Singleton is the dude. I truly believe this. I believe Evan Singleton. He has the base and the skeleton, the frame to be the greatest ever. Yeah. No one produces more power than him. No, he's so fucking fast for his size. It's just there are other variables that are in his life that are keeping him from
other guys that are on the way up too, like Tim Buck is as athletic as me.
Dude, he's so
good.
Right?
There's tons of guys.
Yeah.
Nick Guardione is super athletic. He needs to put in the years to get the strength. Like there's a lot of guys coming up.
Andrew Burton, very athletic.
Very athletic. Like the new batch of guys. I mean,
Bryce.
Bryce is athletic. Andrade is athletic. He's just going to lose a step in a thing or two.
He's just chunky.
Yeah, but see, all these guys are like, the base is laid.
Yeah.
They have the athleticism. There's just like a missing piece, and who decides to go get that missing piece?
Yeah, and honestly, I think for some reason too, people assume that you're so much further ahead than these guys.
No.
When I don't think we are. If anything, we just happen to prep quite well together.
We're good at prepping.
We're good at prepping. And we've worked together long enough to where we understand what the goals are. But keep in mind, a lot of these guys have been doing it longer than Lucas, and a lot of these guys have already beaten Lucas, and they could do it again. They could do it again.
No,
so
every time we do a predictions with me in the show, I'm like, I could get 7th.
Yeah, and that's real shit.
It's real. Yeah. And let's have a strongman contest tomorrow with no prep.
Oof.
I'm not as good.
No, we need to prep.
No, I understand.
We're peakers.
I understand that, like, I am one of the best strongmen in the world right now.
Sure.
But I consider strongman everything from day one of off season to the contest.
Yes.
I am good at strongman if that's what strongman is.
Right.
Right? Like, I'm not saying I'm the strongest guy every day of the year, no matter what. That's Westerwinski.
Yeah, that's Westerwinski. That's a Kevin Ferris. That's
just dudes guys who are like hell year round.
Gas station ready, strong
Yeah.
men.
I'm not gas station ready. I'm not.
No,
I'm
no.
a weak ass. I suck.
You like naps when we're 12 weeks
Yeah,
out.
no. 10 and a half months out of the year, I'm pretty weak. Yeah, I'm okay.
I'm good with that. You good with that?
I hope we didn't piss too many people off. We probably didn't.
No, this one was really moderate in terms of pissing people off. I think the previous episode we just did is going to piss some people off with that USSR music.
Okay. All right, shut it down. Let us know if you agree, disagree, whatever, or if you have more hot takes, because I like doing these, or just questions in general, because we'll do Q&As more often as well.
Love you, Missy, mean it.
All right, bye.